14, background scriptures, Genesis 22, 1 through 19. I'm going to read these verses to you, and these verses, when I read them to you, will basically break it down to you. But I got a little bit to throw in there. Genesis 22, 1 through 14. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said to him, Abraham, and he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now your son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took two of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place of which God had told him.
All right.
Then on the third day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his son, Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, I am the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?
All right.
And Abraham said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for the burnt offering. So they went both of them together. They came to the place where God had told him of. And Abraham burnt an altar there, built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of God called upon him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I.
All right.
And he said, Say, lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, and seeing thou not withhold thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in the thicket by the horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for the burnt offering in the stead of his son.
All right.
And Abraham called the name of the place Jehovah-Jireh. I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Jehovah-Jireh.
Jehovah-Jireh.
That's right.
And it is said to this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. Now, that tells you the whole story there.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
I said this once, I said it twice, I'm going to say it again. If you don't want to hear me say it again, then don't ask me to teach no more. But God
All right.
gave his only begotten son.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
Now,
did.
this man,
Yes, he did.
no hesitation,
That's right.
a father,
That's right.
his only son.
All right.
This is kind of coincided with
That's right.
what's going on.
That's right.
See what went
That's
on.
right. That's right.
Ain't nobody in here. Ain't nobody in this town. Ain't nobody in this country gonna give up their son for these
That's
people
right.
down here.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I just can't believe
All
it.
right. All right.
I just can't believe it, and can't nobody make me believe
That's
it.
it. That's it. That's it.
But he was obedient. It goes way back to Noah.
That's right.
They had never seen no rain.
That's right.
Never,
That's right.
You know, so
That's right.
he did what he was told.
Yes, he did.
And he did it with no hesitation.
That's right. That's right.
People laughed at him, mocked him. They
That's
followed
right.
him, you know,
That's right.
because Noah used to tip a little bit. So they thought he was drunk.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they just didn't want to pay no attention to him.
They wanted this.
This situation here was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Now I'm going to go to the first outline here, which said presented with a test. Genesis 22, 1 through 5. Now, just like I told you, Abraham's experience can be described as a journey.
That's right.
Genesis 12, he was instructed to leave his home for and go to the land of Canaan, seeking the plan of God. At every stage of his journey, the Lord spoke, giving him assurance of the promised covenant. In verse 1, the scripture gives another example of God speaking. This time the voice of the Lord tested Abraham to go into the land of Moriah and sacrifice Isaiah as a burnt offering. Okay. Abraham's initial response to the Lord call was, "Here I am." And those three words was the key.
That's right.
Here I am. And he said, "Here I am."
Here I am.
What does he want me to do? Here I am.
Here I am.
He said, "Here I am."
That's all right.
This willing response provides a good example of how believers should react. Abraham models that one can never fully come to know Elohim by turning a deaf ear. Now, I have never heard that word Elohim, but it's got to mean God.
That's it. That's right. That's right.
Okay? And you never turn a deaf ear. Bible readers have the advantage of knowing the end of this story at the beginning. In the end, Isaac would not be sacrificed, and Abraham would know more assuredly that the Lord provides. But the more mature understanding would never be realized that Abraham now started by saying, "Here I am." And I love that way.
My Lord. Here I am.
Accept the call. You got to accept it. You got to accept it. If you don't accept it, that's you.
Yeah.
That's between you and him.
Here I am.
Okay, you don't want him to be on you.
That's it. That's it.
That's how it is.
Here I am.
Now, as the Lord told Abraham to sacrifice his son, verse 3 reveals, he rose early in the morning and moved out to do it. Abraham does not delay the test, which proved to be wise. He did not give the devil or doubters time to discuss him,
That's right.
to dissuade him.
That's right.
He didn't pay no attention to nobody.
That's right.
He looked strictly ahead.
That's right.
He knew what he was ordered to do, what he was going to do, so he didn't. No matter who was on the left, no matter who was on the right, who was behind him, no matter what was standing on his shoulder, he went straight ahead.
That's it.
It sound like us.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Always got a little devils in me.
That's right. That's right.
Always got somebody on your
That's
shoulder,
right.
telling you to go a different way.
That's right.
Okay. Now, only was one admire his faith, but also Isaac himself, the mom.
All right.
The test does not indicate that he shared with them God's command, but they also had a trust.
That's it.
He, Isaac, and two servants traveled the 3-day journey from Beersheba to the region of Moriah. Abraham followed God. He followed God. You can never go wrong.
All right. All right.
Yes, you follow God. What's this? What do they call this thing in your car?
GPS.
Yeah, you follow God. That was his GPS. Isaac followed his father. That give their boys props too. The servants followed their master, and even the donkey had to obey.
That's it.
The donkey didn't do wrong.
All right.
Verse 5 reveals the steadfast faith of Abraham. For he told the servants that he and Isaac were going further to worship, and they would return. In some way, Abraham's worship convinced him that things would be all right.
My Lord.
But being tested by God, drawing your inner assurance, Abraham believed that although he did not know the outcome, somehow both he and Isaac would return from their encounter with God.
My God.
Presented with a very difficult task, Abraham was ready.
Ready.
Are you ready for your test?
All right. All right.
Okay. You know, we go to school, and boy, we get them exams. You didn't study. You can pray all you want, but you didn't study. You're in trouble.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So we say, are you ready for your test?
All right.
Taking the test, this is the next outline. Genesis 22, 6 and 9. In biblical times, offering was used by various religions to, appease their God, please their God. Abraham came from in the region of Mesopotamia, and they were known for human human sacrifices to their kings and gods. Therefore, the thought of human sacrifice was not foreign to Abraham, but he was not learning the ways of a new God named Elohim, who was vastly different from his old some words in him, Chaldean God, Nana, N-A-N-N-A. The need for believers to set aside their idols is still relevant. They still
That's right.
worship them idol gods.
That's right.
A piece of wood,
That, yeah.
or a statue. They still doing this stuff. For the method of worship in the past is not applied with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Nevertheless, in verse 6, Abraham continued toward Mount Moriah, equipped with wood, fire, and his son, in preparation for a burnt offering sacrifice to the Lord. Now, this will give me Isaac as his father, where the sacrifice will come from. Okay, it is important to note that Isaac was a very young man, while Abraham was more than 100 years old. So, if Isaac had any double thoughts, he could have got away from. He could have outran a 100-year-old man and got away. See what I'm saying? Isaac, just like I said, Isaac could have easily escaped from his father, and he feared for his life.
Yep.
The fact that Isaac remained by his father's side is indicative of a son's deep level of trust in his father. This is his father's day.
That's right.
He trusts his father. So that's something that a lot of kids growing up, when I was growing up, the majority of us had our fathers with us. The majority of them now don't have their father in the house.
That's right.
So they put their trust in their mom.
That's right.
That's why I was talking to my mother right here. You know, it's Father's Day.
That's right.
You counted fathers that will be here.
That's right. That's right.
Mother's Day, how many roses we have left? We give our roses on Mother's Day. See what I'm saying? Everybody be here on Mother's Day. On Father's Day. I'm just saying that's a fact.
That's true. That's true.
Now, like I said, the young man, I give him his props. He asked the question, but he didn't
No, we didn't.
wilter.
That's right.
He didn't run.
That's right.
See what I'm saying?
That's right.
Now, as Abraham stretched out his hand to kill his son, the angel of the Lord called his name. Abraham, you had to stand there and just do what you're supposed to do. This is what happened.
All right.
The angel of the Lord called his name. This act revealed that Abraham intended to follow through with the sacrifice. For a burnt offering to be acceptable, the sacrifice must be killed and then consumed by fire. A practical offering would not be good enough. Abraham could not simply wound or maim Isaac. He had to summarily slit his throat and sprinkle his blood on the altar. Now, how many of y'all do y'all kill?
My Lord. My Lord.
I mean, I don't know nobody would, nobody even think about it.
That's right. That's right.
Now,
That's right.
it would be excruciating to even think of such an act, but it reinforces the intense way that God dealt with sin. Okay? Now, Genesis 20:21, when the angel of the Lord called in verse 11, the man, faith answered by saying, the 3 words, here I am. You know, we talk to the angel, I'm here I am.
Right.
In both instances, the text reveals the importance of staying in tune with God. You gotta be connected. You gotta be like that, not like chicken feet, spread out. So I'm saying, you gotta be connected. Okay? The importance of staying in tune with God, Abraham passed his test and proved that he feared God. The angel compared him not to harm Isaac in any way.
All right.
He was willing not to withhold anything from God, spoke volumes about the meaning of genuine faith.
That's it.
Genuine faith.
All
Right?
right.
Now, you got to remember when God presented him and his wife with a child, that probably squared his head away
That's
like
right.
that. You see what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
But he had the undeniable faith.
All right. All right.
Just at the appropriate time, the man of God saw himself in a man caught in a thicket. God miraculously put in there put him in there at the right time.
That's it.
Faith that causes one to recognize the Lord's provisions. Some trials can be consuming that it's hard to see the handiwork of God.
My
They
Lord.
say, man, God can do anything. Let me go way, way back here. You might remember this. God got a track record.
Yes, he does.
And he ain't never lost nothing. He
Yeah.
never lost grace. He got a track record. How can you not trust him?
Yeah.
You can't trust him, man. He's my
All
Lord.
right. All right.
Going out the door, so he got a track record. He never lost nothing. No race or nothing. This lesson conveys that if one will sincerely worship, the Lord will reveal the answers to life's challenges. When Abraham offered the lamb instead of Isaac, it served as typology for the, oh my God, substitutionary atonement of Jesus Christ.
All right.
Jesus died in place of humanity to pay for the sins of the world in similar fashion as a ram in the place of Isaac.
Yes, Lord.
Y'all understand that?
All right.
Students should not vote the unselfishness of Abraham's words. He could have killed the ram for himself, but the ram belonged to God. And Abraham was careful not to hold anything
All
back.
right.
You gotta be when God gave you instructions.
Yeah.
You better follow the instructions to the T. It's just like a blueprint.
That's it.
When you building a house, you better go by that blueprint.
All right.
And if you have somebody build your house, I know some people learn how to read a blueprint. And they be over there and make sure that they build that house the way they're going to build it. If they don't, they'll put it together the way they want to put it together. And then you stuck with whatever you got, because a lot of people are so happy to get a new house
Yeah.
that they gonna deal with it.
All right.
But if you paying for it, you want to build it the way you want to build it. And that's the way it's supposed to be done. Okay?
Yeah.
And Abraham was careful not to hold anything back.
All right.
Now, the lesson applied, like I said, the lesson won't take long this morning. It's getting close, but it won't take long.
All right.
The lesson applied. During the offertory period, many churches are saying you can't beat God's giving. The word emphasized that no matter how hard you try, we can never outgive God. You can't outgive God.
That's it. That's it.
God don't need nothing from you but obey
All right.
His
All right.
commandments.
All right. All right.
That's all the basis, is the main thing He asks you to do.
All right.
Now, he loves a cheerful giver.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, you
That's
give
right.
whatever
That's right.
you got or whatever, the 10% or whatever.
All right.
He loves a cheerful giver.
Yes, he
But
does.
if you don't have it, give what you got. Okay. Abraham charged to give up his son reinforces the truth of that song.
Yes, it does.
Okay, whatever God expects His children to give, the Lord will do more.
Yes, he will.
The principle is important to remember that being tested, a person's natural inclination is to assume that God's requirement is unreasonable. Now, like I said it again. If somebody comes to you and said, take little Fred. I want you to take little Fred and go do what I tell you to do.
My Lord.
Okay? A lot of people don't assume the requirement is that's unreasonable. Some people.
That's it.
But if you got faith in God, you're gonna do what
All
God
right.
tells you to do.
All right.
You're gonna keep on stepping. I mean, you got to have unbelief, you got to have that trust, you got to have that unbelievable faith. You got to be all in.
Yeah.
I put it to you like that. You got to be all in.
Yeah.
Now, yet Abraham revealed that if his son has unwavering faith, God shows His presence and brings forth an increase.
Yes, he does.
When asked to do something on behalf of the Lord, Christians should look for what will be gained from the experience rather than what may be lost.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. That's it.
They go way back to Job, They go
That's
back
right.
talking about Job.
All right.
And they talking about, man, you had to do something wrong. Like, well, if you
That's
do
right.
a curse
That's
like
right.
that, Job never did wake up.
That's it. That's it.
Never
That's
did.
it.
He
Never did
He
wait.
kept shaking it out. I'm tell y'all about that how they do it. He just kept shaking it out. You see what I'm saying? Now, even though one may not always understand God's ways, the promise of scriptures in the end believes come out blessed. This lesson underscores the importance of unconditional worship.
Yes, sir.
Abraham and his household extended themselves beyond the norm, and they did it through faith.
Yes, he did.
Often churches try to make worships too convenient.
That's right.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. Technology.
All right.
Y'all already know where I'm going here.
All right.
Technology has advanced so a person can comfortably worship services at home,
That's right.
even at the coffee shop on Sunday morning.
Yes.
Abraham's example was different.
That's
He had to
right.
go out of his way to really encounter God. Christians must be careful on making worship
That's right.
so commonplace that they can claim they are experiencing God while simultaneously watching a football game or split screen TV. Authentic worship entitled sacrifice,
Yep.
time, effort, and sometimes even life.
That's right.
But for those who are willing to hold nothing back, God will hold nothing from them. Now, let's talk about this a little bit. Can't see the clock.
Brother, teach, you know,
Huh?
that's why the Bible say obedience is better than sacrifice.
That's
Yes.
right.
So we gotta do is obedient. We don't wanna be obedient.
That's
We wanna
right.
do what I wanna do.
Yes,
And
you're right.
let's look at, God give us a test every day.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pick up that word. I might not pass the next day, but I'm gonna pass the bishop. When I pick up that word, the more words I put on the inside of me, the
That's
more
right.
that God can work with me. So we as Sunday have to learn how to be obedient. And you know
Yes.
what? When you say everything you say right, everything else you say, you want to give God a tip. God don't need no tip. That's how we don't get blessed. Or we're not doing what God asked us to do. You want to punish that woman? What is that word? What are you doing?
That's
And we have to
right.
realize,
That's
we
right.
have got to put God first in our life. That's the only way.
Only
God,
way.
the only way.
Only way.
That's it. The more you read your word, the more it gets true to you.
That's
The
it.
more you read
That's
it,
it.
you got to check off and do it out.
That's it.
Because this thing is for real.
That's
We can
right.
pray all we want to,
That's
but this
right.
thing is real. We have got to learn to study for our test.
That's right.
When the test comes, we're going to fail a test. Why? Like you said, we didn't study.
We didn't study.
We didn't study. So we have a test every day, God.
I learned about the obedience the hard way. Every time I got spoken. I'm gonna tell you what the Lord does. I look for my daddy to whoop me than my mama. My mama gonna preach to me. A disobedient child shall not live his days. Let me tell you what the Lord does. You see what I'm saying? So I learned about obedience. I learned about the right way and the hard way. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Now, it is a mistake to assume that one cannot have faith like Abraham. Some people may read about his extraordinary faith and indicating that would never be their faith. I'll tell you what. But with God, all things are possible. All believers have that potential of great faith through the power of the Holy Spirit. As a result, in this lesson, each person should declare they have faith like Abraham. That's everybody, but like I said, there's a lot of people that don't. I'm gonna tell you about this. Shaking it off. Y'all probably heard this. I know you probably heard it. Preaching for a long time.
Right.
I think I told this to Miss T the other day. But it was this farmer.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
He had this goat,
Yeah.
and you know a goat. Jump on top of your house, jump everywhere, go everywhere with you. So, you know, just unruly.
All right.
So a goat jumped down in his well. Down the way. In the farmer's well. Man, I could try to get this goat out, so got rope down there. Goat ate the rope. Okay, so tried again, want to put a noose around his neck. Goat ate that. So man said, well, maybe one thing left for me to do, and that's to bury him. Start throwing dirt down.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Start
sir.
throwing dirt down. Dirt down. He throws so much dirt down there, that goat just walked about that hole. See what I'm saying? I tell you this, when people start talking about you, start doing the bad, do like they do. Shake it off. Just keep shaking it off. You shake it off, eventually the ones that's talking about you gonna be behind you. And you gonna step out in front of them. And when you step out in front of them, you turn around and say, how you like me now?